wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Elders Wisdom, and hello to Juliet.
Hello, Marion. Hi, Julie. So we have lovely Debbie and Jack here, and they've just said good evening to us and all the nice things they usually say. So loyal supporters of Elders Wisdom, and we've got some other people that are here that haven't said hello. But if you'd like to say hello, everyone, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes,
absolutely. And we now get quite a few viewers because we're distributed over quite a lot of channels. And I know just in Facebook that we've had a lot of views on our last video last week. But it's strange because we never seem to hear any comments from people that listen afterwards. So this is an interactive program. We're hoping to inspire you. We're hoping to bring awareness to the situation that we're in. And and we're hoping to support you. So if you watch this video after the live, we'd really appreciate any comments or to email us directly. So you can email me at juliet@healing-waters.co.uk. Do you want
no point emailing me because I can't read.
Oh, bless. So we have for people who haven't watched, we have we're normal human beings that are dealing with quite complex challenges that have a vision for a beautiful world, for people to be happy and thrive together. And I mean, what's your vision for the world, Marion?
Enjoying it.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not about it being a beautiful world to enjoy. It's about what can I do to make sure that regardless of circumstances, if there's joy to be found, I can find it.
That's interesting because Kamala Harris, there's this big thing going on with Kamala Harris, who is the
she's unburdened by what has been, apparently.
She's the communist person standing up, as been put there by the globalist in
the fascist poster. What's it, Centerfold?
Yeah, well, her thing now is she's selling her election on joy, how to be joyful, or something like that.
Yeah, warriors for joy, I think she says, doesn't she?
Anyway,
I'm not a warrior for joy. I only want my own. I couldn't give a shit about anyone else. If I can find it when all of you lot are miserable, what a great place to be. You can
absolutely.
Come and join me and we'll watch all the miserable buggers together.
Well, that's the point of the nervous system, isn't it? That we entrain other people with our nervous system. So the state of being that we are actually in ourselves is going to make a difference to those people around us. So if we're miserable, we're going to bring other people down. And if we can elevate our mood and our energy, it's going to lift people up.
You think about the way school teachers are, the impact a school teacher has in the classroom. Just because I presume we've all been to schools, we've all had that experience. And even though it was a long time ago, if a school teacher walked in, especially when you're a teenager, and they're lacking in confidence in some way, it's not going to be a good class, is it? So this whole thing, your state of being and your confidence in it about who you are, and you're here now, and you're here in all your glory, and it doesn't matter what the next second might bring, to just be able to stand now here in this moment without being burdened by what has been.
Yes, well, unfortunately, a lot of us are burdened by what has been because we've all been through a shit show, and we've got centuries of generational trauma that we're dealing with, plus our personal trauma and the collective trauma that we're now in. So this is really, really vital for us to heal and to become conscious and realize how our state of being is affecting other people around us. So how to stay in that place of resilience and positivity, even if sometimes we feel burdened.
Well, resilience is about carrying on regardless, isn't it? Resilience means you can be hit and you'll carry on. You can be swiped and you'll carry on. You can be knocked down and you'll carry on. So it's a bit by being resilient, you're actually already having to account for all the negative stuff, aren't you? Because that's what resilient means. Being able to confront the reality with some ability to stand up straight or confidence or
Yeah. So it's about having enough elasticity in the nervous system to be able to bounce back, and that only we can do that for ourselves. So we've just to allow ourselves to be completely crushed, then there isn't any resilience. We're knocked down, we're knocked further and further down, and that's the end of it. And then we're conquered, we're done for. And our task as a human being is like we've incarnated for a purpose on this planet. We may not know what that purpose is. We may not believe in incarnation even, but we're here.
we've got a purpose. Some people, I mean, Alan Watts talks about purposelessness. I quite like the idea of it because we try to make meaning and that usually makes problems. So we didn't make any meaning. We could be purposeless. We're still here. We could still do what we want.
Well, Thomas Hubel, who's the collective trauma person that I trained with, also talks in his model about the soul incarnates, and there's this the two poles that the soul. I mean, this corresponds with ideas about developmental trauma. There's these two states, which is being and becoming, and that in order to grow up and develop as a happy, joyful human being, then we have to fulfill both of those tasks of being and becoming, and they have to work together. And we can only become according to the security that we develop for ourselves in relationship, as we build relationships, first of all, with our primary caregivers, our mother, father, or surrogates of. And then when we have that feeling of security, then we can start to explore, we can take those steps to step out and learn to walk, talk, etc. And that expands out to our immediate family and community, that we build a secure base so that we can become whatever it is we want to be, whether we whatever the meaning in your life is that's meaningful, that we can only fulfill that when we have that connection and that security.
That's what my TED talk was about.
Was it?
Yes, it was about running away. Are you running away from things or are you running towards things? And it was all about the fact that I'd spent, and I'm still doing it, I'm 60 and I'm still doing it. I've never known anything other than run away. What motivates me is to run away because what was at home was so traumatic and toxic. So I never was becoming. I was always running away from. There was no positive intent I was moving toward that wasn't absolutely connected to the polarity of where I'd come from. So I was running away from the fear and the abuse and the power over and the dominance and all of those things. And it's really interesting because that idea of becoming, if we're not doing it intentionally, then we will be running away from. And while we are running away from, even though it's away, it's somebody else is pulling all the strings.
When we're running away, we're in our fight or flight, and this is a highly activated state.
But we run away by going into Facebook. We run away by going into the marshmallow 50-kilo bag. Do you know what I mean? That's another. It's just another way of looking at what's it called? Distracted behaviors, coping mechanisms.
The coping mechanisms, because we need to have a way to get through. We need to have a prop that helps us regulate when we run away, when feel like we're in a life-threatening situation. That's when the primitive brain is in control. And Jason Christoph, who we've been referring to in the last couple of videos, talks about people are generally permanently in the world in a state of fight or flight, because that's the result of the mind programming, the mind conditioning.
Interesting. I listened to some of his things, and a cup of coffee takes weeks to come out of the system. And as soon as we've taken coffee, we are in fight or flight. We cannot not throw the nervous system into fight or flight. He said coffee is one of the best mind control tools because it will always reduce oxygenation to the prefrontal lobes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so interesting. I love coffee. I absolutely love it. But I did not appreciate until I was listening to him at this how it means that if as soon as I've had a cup of coffee, if I don't have another one for 6 weeks, then after 6 weeks, my nervous system can actually start to regulate without this foreign exactly.
Gosh. Yeah.
So and so that's why coffee is so prized. I think sugar does something similar, but on a different level. But yeah, he keeps
Yeah.
talking about coffee.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I was listening to him as well, and he said that every time our body is poisoned by all the toxicity, we talked about this in the video last week, by all the poisons in the water, the air, the food, etc. It's very hard to escape from it. That every time we're poisoned, we take a toxic substance into our body, then the body is going to go into fight or flight because it's under threat because now you've ingested poison.
you're under attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you drink really like sometimes people who have ice cream, you'll eat the ice cream and then you'll get really like a lot of after effects from the body going, get rid of it, get rid of it. It's like just like there's so much mucus produced, isn't there, after milk products with a lot of people, and that's because the body's saying, get this stuff, get it away from me, get it away from me.
Yeah.
So all these taste buds going, yum, yum, yum. And then every other cell in the body's going, get this shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there is like we're going into the whole realm of diet, but it's like, is it the milk product or is it what they do to the milk product? And that's basically
Yes.
all the damage that's been done,
Yeah.
all the pasteurization.
That's what you said. Pasteurization makes milk toxic to the body.
Terribly, all the interferences, all the processing of food makes it.
Homogenization. Oh my God. Can you imagine what that's doing? Homogenization that's where they've smashed all the fat. So that there's no like proper molecules in the milk. It's all smashed to smithereens.
Yeah, we need these healthy fats. So Debbie here says that you are an inspiration, Marion, and Joy, including Joy. So that's nice. Thank you, Debbie. So Debbie's an inspiration as well, I think.
Yes.
And she also says, joy begins with a feeling of joy in normal consciousness. The immediate environment will be perceived in a far different manner than it would be, say, if an individual were in a state of depression. The feeling of joy changes the objects themselves in that the perceiver sees in them a far higher light. He creates the objects far more vividly with greater clarity.
Yeah.
In feedback fashion, the environment then seems to reinforce his joy. I think that's very true, that our perceptions massively change our experiences. And as soon as we're activated.
Our perception is everything. Everything. This is why this is so important that we do the work on ourselves and see it as a personal journey. Our perceptions running the show. It is running the show. It's been lied to left, right, and centre. From our side, because we've got stuck beliefs and trauma, and from the other side, because there's toxic media. But our perception is everything. Everything. Isn't it, really?
Absolutely. And we're surrounded by the media that lie to us about all kinds of things. And we're being poisoned through every possible source. It's been going on for centuries. But what's amazing, Marion, is that we manage to rise above it and continue to thrive, even though it's like these terrible, there's literally, a global murder happening. I won't say the word, I'm aware how much we get censored and that they are trying to censor us more and more and more, particularly on YouTube. So despite that all happening, that we're still rising, and we've got this incredible buoyancy. Humanity has got this spark of something. I mean, why? If I think they must be afraid of us, otherwise, why would they be?
I think this is the thing. I think that's what I said in the message yesterday, wasn't it? It's like there's because we clarify every week ideas where the hidden hand is apparent,
Yeah,
because we've not perceived it because of the media. We've perceived it because the media isn't integrous, and nothing is around us is integrous or in alignment of any kind. So we spot the errors, but then it's like when we again, it's just down to our own personal perception, isn't it? And if we're in the state that we're in, feeds into the way that we're perceiving as well. So if I'm in a really good mood and everything's going really well, and I walk in and I've got joy, and there's a bit of a sticky situation that needs sorting out, you can usually do it with humor and compassion. But if I walk in and I've just been mugged, that I'm not going to have the humor and compassion to deal with the situation in the same way, even though it's the same situation. So everything, just keeps coming back to this: how we perceive, and our state will always influence that perception.
yeah, and we're more likely to be mugged if we've got unresolved trauma, because that keeps playing and replaying in our psyche. That's why our collective trauma keeps replaying and replaying. And that's why they, whoever they are, the hidden hand, try to keep us in a state of
Well,
fear.
that's why they're working so hard. Yeah. And I think it's like Tom and Jerry, isn't it? How has the cat not won? How has the cat not won? Because the mouse is human and the cat isn't. That's
I like that. That's really good. So, yeah.
or what's the other one? The Roadrunner. It's
Yeah,
like you never got it, because why not? Because that's what it's showing us. I think that's what they're showing us. This chase, catch, chase, catch, chase, catch, chase, catch. You can't keep doing that once it's dead. So why isn't it dead? Well, because it's human, and it's showing us about human intelligence, human inspiration, human ingenuity, all of that, all of those words begin with in.
that's right. And even though they're trying to keep us in this state of fear and censorship and put sticking plaster over our mouths, we have to keep speaking out. And we never had the means to speak out so much before we had the internet. So it's important. I've just been reading another book by Thomas Hubel, who's a German doctor who specializes in collective trauma. I studied with him in Jerusalem just at the start of the lockups, before all this terrible stuff started going on. So he talks a lot about when we have unresolved trauma in our psyche. So we get stuck in trauma time, and that little bit of trauma, if it's not processed, it splits off and it's locked away in a kind of frozen place.
I think that's what's happening with my eyes. I think the body is responding constantly to some frozen trauma stuff in me, and there's a set of programming around it. Where, like one of my friends, Mara, is a great therapist, and she said to me the other day, "You've got all these thoughts, but they're not your thoughts. They're the thoughts from terror."
Yeah,
But they fill this gap in your system. So you've got this terror program it's not apparent on the surface, because I'm running, I'm living a normal life, and I've run away to a place where I feel like at least I've got a little bit of control over my life. But I haven't cleared what I'm running away from. I haven't cleared the terror. And that's why this process has taken my eyes, because to me, it's an injury after an injection. But if it's like what it gets different people in different places. So why does it get people in different places? Well, I think it gets the place that's been weakened the most by previous trauma or previous shock or previous untaken care of business. And
yeah.
so for me, that was to do with what I can see, because when I'm using kinesiology, I'm always looking for what's better, but I can't see what's better.
Mm,
I keep seeing what needs to be made better or what isn't better.
yeah,
But I keep looking. So I'm running away because I want to find what's better. I've never found it. I'm still looking. And that's why I think this biological process went to my eyes, and it has created the type of tissue and organ behavior that it's created. I think it is because of these frozen aspects aspects of my being that are still terrorized,
Yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
I'm living around them all. I've created a nice armoring of this person who's Marion, who's confident, who's clever, who does all of these things that people don't assume there's any terror there. People would never assume I was terrified.
Mm, mm.
So, yeah, I think for me, that's how, when you were saying that just then about what Thomas is like, really brings home for me as well what my process is and
Well,
how
that's
there are
interesting
still
because,
to discover about my own frozen traumas and the terror that would presumably, if we discover and reduce them, would reduce or reverse the tissue behaviors as they are now.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because the thing with terror is that your eyes go wide open, don't they?
Yeah,
There's this
that's what I look like. Just look like I'm startled. It's just,
startled, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My eyes were quite small before all of this. My family have got quite small eyes. One of my brothers was actually called Chinky at school
Yeah,
because we were in Birkenhead and it was in the 70s. So what can you say?
yeah. So Thomas Hubel goes on to talk as well about this happening, frozen trauma, all those wars and genocides and things that haven't been spoken of, or they've been
All
censored.
the propaganda. We've believed the propaganda, so we're still living in that terror because
Yeah,
of, with the whole 6 million number. I mean,
yeah.
that number at 6 million and the people from the Jewish community, that number was put out in the mainstream press, all over the newspapers for decades before Hitler even got in. And then
Mm.
suddenly, now we believe it, the 6 million's connected to him. Fuck all to do with him. It
Well,
was in the news loads before he came along. Do you know what I mean? So
well,
there's trauma there. That's a big fucking lie. Nobody knows the truth of it.
that's the point. So much of these lies and the mind control is traumatic as well, and that's why we need to look at the information, explore, go down the rabbit holes, and look at it and process it, share it, discuss it. So that we can get to some degree of truth. It's important to have the truth in order to be able to heal. So it's interesting.
It's two things, isn't it? It's important to know the truth, but it's also important that sometimes we will never know the truth, and that is the truth as well.
Yeah, there's that, and to be with whatever it is, but at least to be consciously engaging in the work and not sitting completely, in a frozen state. So
Yeah.
Jason Christoph, because I signed up to his video list, no, his email list. So he sends out content to help people heal. And what he was saying is that when we follow the media and the mind, we get mind controlled by repetitive negative content. So we need to build positive repetitive content. So that
Oh,
doesn't.
did you hear what the car theft? Did you hear that? That was a good one, wasn't it? He talked
Yeah,
about a movie then, and there were some 138 references to car theft, and it was a very famous movie with Angelina Jolie. I've never seen it, don't know. But apparently, within 24 hours, car crime had gone up 3,000%.
that's crazy.
And
Crazy.
it's like with Jaws, wasn't it? Within half an hour, half the planet had decided they were never going in the sea again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been frightened swimming, like, oh, maybe a shark will get me. Anyway, he sent this a couple of little videos that I just want to share, and I'm not going to share the whole video. The links are going to be here beside our live, and we're a bit like this program, this podcast is a bit like a pointer system to go and explore this information or that information. I'm just going to give you a little taste. So go on, what were you saying?
What was I saying? I can't remember. Oh yeah, there was a really good meme video done. It was only a few months ago, and it was our friend Gates. Well, not my friend Gates. And it was using his voice. It was an AI, but using his voice and his face. And it was basically saying, yes, well, now we've got the cure for washing machines breaking down. We've got the cure for blockages in your sink. We've got the cure for toothache. We've got the cure for headaches. We've got the cure for nail varnish on your sheets. Oh, it's an mRNA jam. It was really good.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's very, very, very Yeah, I sometimes wonder if he's real even. I mean, he's so outrageous and so
He's
ridiculous.
really well, he's really traumatized. He is what a clear, classic example of like being just trauma, living in trauma, being brought up it because he was. I mean, there's photographs of him as a child in a dress, and he's all looking really embarrassed, and everyone was laughing at him and stuff. Just he's
Well, he's
obviously.
part of the global elite, isn't he? And they do
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, it's. I mean, he could have been like Rosemary's Baby, couldn't he? Because that's what his parents were completely in that club.
Well, that's totally what they do. They massively traumatize their own children. You know, that's the thing about uh,
Kathy and her daughter, because they had her daughter, didn't they? Before she got out, Kathy, not O'Neill, what's her name?
Kathy O'Brien.
Kathy O'Brien, because her daughter was born into it through Kathy, wasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kathy was born into it through her family, wasn't she?
Absolutely. But the whole thing is that they deliberately torture or
The mind, don't they? So then they can find bits of the mind that are still workable, and they might do a good job. Like, oh, I know, we can make you the person who runs Microsoft, creates viruses, and then shoots it up some little kid's arm with excitement on your face. Yeah, that fracturing that they do, the MK Ultra fracturing, is very, very, very good for what they want.
Yeah, quite disgusting. Anyway, so we're going to stay healthy and positive. And Jason Christoph really recommends everybody goes and watches this guy, Paul Chek, because if we want to get through this mind control and this poisoning, we have to really massively take care of our own health. And he said, of all people who know anything about health, then Paul Chek is the person. And I'm sure that a lot of what he shares about is what a lot of us know already.
So what's his thing? Have you watched him? Have you seen him, Paul Chek?
I've watched a little bit, but I'm just saying for the viewers now, the link's going to be here that if you're not familiar with this stuff, go through Paul Chek's stuff and follow his videos. So here he's just showing the basics, the foundations of what you need to be healthy. So
I use the ancient philosophy of Hippocrates. Hippocrates believed there was really only three things that almost all diseases came from. So Hippocrates spoke of Dr. Quiet, Dr. Diet, and Dr. Happiness. So when Hippocrates was a physician, he found that almost all the people that saw him with any kind of an ailment were suffering from a lack of quiet time, or they were eating incorrectly, or they were unhappy. Now, these are very critical things. If you're not eating right, it's the equivalent of putting the wrong kind of fuel in your car. How long does it?
So I'm not going to go on listening. We're running out of time, and as usual, I've got so much to share.
That's interesting. I like what he said about those not enough quiet. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and this ties up with Thomas Hubel of being and becoming, that we need to have this time of being and tuning in order for us to do our next stepping out.
Yeah, because that's what I was running away from. Not enough quiet as well.
Yeah. So Jason Christoph also has sent this very, very interesting, inspirational video that shows, it's really down to us what we choose to do. It's like, can we like ourselves even? Unless we like ourselves and put ourselves central stage, then we're not going to thrive. We're always going to be running away from something, or
The people to like us.
Getting other people to like us.
Trying to make other people like us, yeah.
So
they probably don't even like themselves. So what kind of judgy character are they?
So here we're trying to share this.
I'm on government assistance, and I run out of money, and I had to buy Pampers for Jelani. And I had $11.42 in the bank. And I remember wrapping my son in a towel for 2 days. I remember the second day, like you said, I had my hand on Jelani's stomach, and I said, "Don't worry, baby. Mommy will never be this broke or broken again. And that day, what shifted for me was I was willing, and I don't know if this is gonna sound crazy, I was willing to completely die to any form of me that I had been so that I can birth the woman that I was becoming. The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, I've always been this way. Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that. I knew it wasn't working for me any longer. I had hit my version of rock bottom. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody. See, another reason why people won't get there is because the doorway is for you to fit through. You trying to carry everybody else through because you're trying to be Rescue 911. And you got to rescue you first. I am much more valuable to my family and to my community because I was willing to let them go through the door myself, teach myself, learn myself, condition myself, and come back and get them. I'm much more valuable to them now. But I had to go through a window time of 10 years of judgment. You leaving us, hanging out with white people all the time. You going to these crazy countries. We don't know what you... I had to be willing to allow my conviction to make me inconvenienced. See, we want to grow, but we want to stay liked by everybody. I was willing to be my own rescue at the risk of your approval. But most of us aren't like that. Facebook is an example. We want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I like myself today, so your like is extra. My job is to like me first. I was willing to say every day, Lisa, you like you? Lisa, are you proud of you? Lisa, are you playing full out? Every day before I checked in with anybody else.
So yeah, this thing about being liked and wanting to be part of the crowd, and this is what Jason Christoph as well is talking about, is that why did people, despite knowing, like having all this information about how dangerous the jabs were and so on, why did they still go and have them? You know, why are humans so easy to be mind controlled?
I don't know if they knew how dangerous it was. I think they believed it would make them better. It's not that they've gone against their belief, it's that they believe something that's way out of whack. But I think with the mind control, they didn't know, did they, that they were dangerous? They believed they would save their lives. That's why they did it.
Yeah. We keep going through this narrative. We're not willing to let go of certain things in order to be different.
Yeah, we don't want to know different. That's what it is, isn't it? We don't want to know different. We know what we know, and we're going to stick to it.
And Jason Christoph talks about how human beings, like in the primitive brain, the unconscious part of the brain, it's always pattern matching. So it's always looking, what's the...
That's why that's where I think the way I work fits in, because about programming and pattern matching. That's what it is. That's for me, that's the core of all of it. And yeah, that's why I love what this Jason Christoph's talking about with the whole, with the limbic brain and then the lizard brain. The lizard brain's a yes, no. The limbic brain's the thing that. So there's all these lovely levels of understanding how we have ended up coming to the, acting the way we have, coming to the conclusions that we have.
Yeah, human beings need to belong. They need to feel safe. So if the majority of the people around them are doing a certain thing, then that pattern, unconscious part of the brain, pattern matching, will go along with the herd.
And that's what stops us speaking up, doesn't it? When we start a conversation and we hear like all of the other people you're talking to say, what do you mean? It's like you lose all of the energy and the will to then continue in your own with your own beliefs and your own understandings. It's like you think you're going to just face this wall of defensiveness. There's no point in even going there.
So unless we're resilient, unless we have the strength, unless we have the health, then that's what we're going to do. By default, we'll go along with that because we don't have the energy or the will or whatever to take the risk to step out. So that's why it's so important to to make sure your health is good, to make sure you have some elasticity in your nervous system, some resilience. Otherwise, we're always going to be victim to being programmed.
Well, we are programmed, but we will never we'll never be able to rise above it.
Yeah. But luckily, humans are rising above it. So we've just got a few minutes, which is wonderful, despite millions of us now being murdered, which is happening by all sorts of means. We are still rising above. And I had a wonderful, inspiring meeting the other day from a neighbor of mine down the road. I've known of him for years, but I've never really talked to him. But I was just walking down the road the other day and said, "Oh, hi, how are you? What have you been doing?" He says, "Oh, I've just come back from Sweden." So he's an example of an individual that's taken a decisive step to build something better in his life. And there's hundreds of these kind of projects going on. And he's open for people to join, to participate in this. I want to put up his website for a minute. If it speaks to your heart, then you might want to go and be involved in this project. If you can't start a project yourself, maybe you want to join this one. It's very interesting, and it gives you lots of being time, lots of time to have that quiet space that's so vital for our health. So just share this.
In April 2023, we bought this place in northern Sweden, Åkerhjön in Jämtland, just near the border with Norway. And we bought this site here. It has 107 acres of land. It has a farmhouse, a guest cabin, a big barn and garage workshop. Where the inspiration for this project was born with me and Justine, we would go travelling in remote and wild and beautiful places, and we'd always dream of moving to live there one day, partly because we just love being in remote and wild and beautiful places, but also it's also born out of our shared response to the crazy, unstable, unpredictable things that are happening in the world right now, and just really feeling a sense that there's a gradual and sometimes sudden decline of the systems on which business as usual is depending, and really that we want to unplug from that as much as possible and create an alternative that is both the way that we both want to live anyway and is a kind of sane and intelligent response that we find ourselves in.
So that's a very, very inspiring project. So they have a program. You can go onto their website and find the program and go and join them. They have like 2-week-long camps and join into what they're doing there. It's really amazing. So that's great. It really it excites me when I see these projects, and there's so many of them happening around us. So Marion, you when you were out in France, you went to that place where they were growing all the vegetables, didn't you?
Yeah, where the lady's got some what are they called? They used to be greenhouses.
Big polytunnels and growing.
Yeah, she's rented a field off a farmer, and I think she's got 4 or more polytunnels. Yeah. And she has a little shop where she sells all the produce that she grows. And it's all it's all organic, and what's that? There's another word that they use, isn't there? That can't remember, eco something or other. But yeah, it's all really nice because it's proper just organic food that's grown here now that you can just take. It's still alive when you're taking it home. It's not been put through machines, industry and plastic packaging and tills and things.
Yeah.
It's very nice. There's quite a few different places around Toulouse actually where I went, where there's lovely little cottage industry, a lot of cheese making, fabulous goat's cheese, like to beyond good. Oh, my favourite thing.
That's beautiful.
Spicy. please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have sorry, we've got 1 minute left before the end of the show. We've got loads of comments.
All the comments.
Let's see what we can read. Okay, we've got Debbie as writing loads of stuff here. She says, Marion, interesting about your eyes. And I agree about the frozen trauma. The injections are the physical trigger. Same here with all the stuff going on here, including my ears now with hearing and different things all over my body. And I know what some of the trauma is, but I find it difficult to resolve. Yeah. It is, knowing is one thing, but actually resolving it is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
On the physical level, there are loads of new technologies that are helpful. So there is the molecular hydrogen, which I'm wondering, like in the ears, I've been experimenting with it in my ears because I've got a molecular hydrogen machine. If it improves the hearing and it apparently improves vision as well. So you were trying that, weren't you, Marion? But you couldn't put the goggles on because of the pressure.
Well, they took a little bit, yeah, because of the shape of my face. They didn't fit very well.
Yeah. Debbie says her taste is almost gone now too, all symbolic. I think zinc is very associated with taste. I heard that losing your sense of taste is also connected to zinc deficiency. Graham says, oh, wait for something here. What does Graham say? The big hitter for any economy is big pharma, petrochemical, and big agri.
They're all, yeah, because they're all, that's what all the petrol, plastic, pharmaceutical, all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they make the pharmaceuticals out of, all the petrol.
Gold. What was it? The Beverly Hillbillies.
Black gold, yeah. That's what Rockefeller did, isn't it? He bought up the doctors and everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where money is. People are just fodder. So if you want to know the truth, then follow the money, they say, don't they? Follow
Yes.
the money. Yeah.
Yes. The farmers are all dealing in all sorts of ways, and we're there just being farmed.
Yeah. Debbie says, when Gray and I lived in Singapore, we used to cycle along the edge of a jungle with all the jungle noises, insects, massive leaves, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Oh my God, they bulldozed it all down to make more runways at Shanghai Airport to cater for all the people who were coming over for the new attractions, theme parks, etc. They built that. That's really, really tragic. Oh, I can't even say the word tragic, Debbie. That's awful.
When I go to Belize, Honduras, and Guatemala, the last few times I've been, it's like you're going to a different planet. It's concrete, metal, and lights everywhere, where it used to just be jungle everywhere.
It's so tragic. Absolutely, all for money. So Debbie says on safety, 911 itself shows, what's that word? I can't quite see it. 111 or 911. It shows itself particularly in any kind of obsessive behavior, mental or physical. It is the overly developed, exaggerated, unnatural need for safety. Such an exaggerated need for safety is quite rampant in our society. It leads to the setting up of barrier after barrier to protect the self, both against the self and against the outside world. Seth says that. But the thing is, Debbie, if we're in our primitive brain, that's a primitive response. So the constant need for safety is now a trauma response. It's not, I mean, it's a fundamental need, but the fact that we feel like we're not safe when actually we are safe is a trauma response as well.
That's the frozen thing, isn't it? It's like the threat is still here.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's our perception. We see that there's danger when there isn't danger even. People are led on a daily basis by the media, says Graham, and TV, a one-way form of communication. Listen only and like being told what to do. Yeah. What is happening on Bake Off and X Factor is far more important than freedom of thought. Two-way communication requires active thought. That is tiring. So Jason Christoff was also showing how as soon as you have a screen within 90 seconds, that screen literally switches off the frontal cortex oxygen stops going there anymore. I mean, minimum oxygen is there now, and you're in a state of hypnosis. So screens are terribly, terribly dangerous.
The patent for screen technology obviously was tied up, sewn up stitched up very, very early on. And the frequency, the screen frequency that was patented is very, very precise to strike throw me into record only as a delta brainwaves. So
Yeah.
it literally switches off the critical sections basically of the brain, just switches them off.
Yeah. So we're at the end. So do follow us we're on a number of platforms. Facebook might ban us at any point. YouTube might ban us, but we are on Rumble. We are on BitChute. We are on TikTok and Odyssey, X, LinkedIn. We're covering our bases. But above all, go to Telegram. And the link for my Telegram channel is here. And yeah, maybe we should have an email that we sign up to get people. You know, I'm thinking about starting a Substack that many people seem to be doing, so that would bypass with an email link. Anyway, Debbie says, hope you twos have a lovely evening. Bye. Bless you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you. Do share our video, please. Like it, share it. New people seeing it, please comment and share, because
share it with people who you think it'll really piss off.
Yeah,
especially if you don't want to have to deal with them over Christmas or New Year. You can you can defriend people by sending them our video link, and if they like it and watch it, then you'll have your friendship changed.
That's right. Yeah. So lots of love to you all. Be well, be happy, eat well, eat healthily, turn off the TV, and see you next week. Same time, same place, with yeah, some more thoughts.
More thoughts
on what we need to do to stay healthy and well.